Hello everyone, welcome to social science class. Okay, let us recap what we have discussed in the last class. In the last class, we have learned the Hyder Ali, how did he come to power, and his son Tipu Sultan, how how did he rule over the Mysuru province, and next first, second, third Anglo-Mysore war were fought between Hyder Ali, Tipu Sultan and the British. And next to why were the British furious? There were reasons. And next, finally, the Mysuru province, which was controlled by British by ending of Fourth Anglo-Mysore War in 1799, the British imposed a subsidiary alliance on the Mysuru province. Finally, the Mysuru province also, which was controlled by British after the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. Okay, British already annexed the states such as Bihar, Bengal and Odisha province through the Battle of Plassey and the Battle of Buxar, and British conquered the state of Carnatic. There were three Carnatic wars by the three Carnatic wars. British conquered the state of Maratha province by the three. Let us discuss. British conquered the Mysore state through the Anglo-Mysore wars. Next, let us discuss about the British concentrated towards war with Marathas. In the last period, we have discussed the war with Marathas. A battle of Panipat, the Maratha dynasty was destroyed. Maratha dream of ruling from Delhi was shattered due to the defeating of third battle of Panipat. And next, who was the leader of Confederacy of Maratha province? The first one is Maharaj Scindia and Nana Fadnavis. Next, let us continue with page number 18. The Marathas were subdued in a series of wars. Subdued, which means they were controlled by they were controlled by British by three wars. First, Anglo-Maratha War 1775 to 1782. Second Anglo-Mysore War 1863 to 1805. Third Anglo-Mysore War 1817 to 1818. These three Anglo-Mysore War, finally British won the Anglo-Mysore War. Marathas subdued, which means they were controlled by British. A series of wars. How many wars? First, second, third. First Anglo-Mysore War. Anglo-Maratha War. First Anglo-Maratha. When 1775 to 82. 1775 to 82. Second Anglo-Mysore War 1803 to 1805. And next, third Anglo-Maratha War 1870 to 1818. By these wars, the British successfully gained the Maratha province. Already we have learned in the last class, British gained Mysuru province through the Anglo-Mysore Wars. Carnatic province already they have gained. Next, Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar, the British had gained Bengal, Bihar and Odisha province. Let us next, the Marathas were subdued in a series of wars. The first, second, third Anglo-Maratha wars. In the first war that ended in 1782. Okay, the first Anglo-Mysore War, it took place between the Marathas. It took place between Marathas and the British. Who was the leader of Marathas? Maratha army was led by Maratha army was led by Madharav II, and British. The first Anglo-Maratha War, which took place between 1770, which took place between Madara II versus British in the year of 1775 to 1782. When was, one more question, when was first Anglo-Maratha War ended? 1782 with the Treaty of Salbai. With the Treaty of Salbai. Which treaty came to an end? First Anglo-Maratha War, Treaty of Salbai. Treaty of Salbai. And let us recap. Which treaty came to an end? First Anglo-Mysore War, Madras Treaty. Second Anglo-Mysore War, Mangalore Treaty. Third Anglo-Mysore War, Srinagarpatna Treaty. And the first Anglo-Maratha War came to an end with the Treaty of Salbai. One more question, which treaty ended the first Anglo-Maratha War and when was it ended? 1782, it was ended in 1782. It was ended with the Treaty of Salbai. The Treaty of Salbai. And the second Anglo-Maratha War. Second Anglo-Maratha War which took place between British and the Marathas. British and the Marathas. A Maratha armies were led by Holkar, Gwalior, Bhonsle. Holkar, Gwalior, Bhonsle. These three members, another side British. In the second Anglo-Maratha War fought on different fronts. Different fronts which means different. The first one is British. Opposite versus different fronts. Holkar dynasty. The first one is Holkar dynasty and second one is Gwalior and next one is Bhonsle dynasty. These three dynasties which fought against the British in the second Anglo-Maratha War. Fronts which means ಮುಖಾಮುಖಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಒಂದು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಯಾರು ಹೋಳ್ಕರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಕೂಡ, ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಹೋಳ್ಕರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಗ್ವಾಲಿಯರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಬೋನ್ಸ್ಲೆ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ. ಓಕೆ this second Anglo-Mysore War resulting in the British gained Orissa and the territories north Yamuna river including Agra and Delhi. Which places were gained by British in the second Anglo-Maratha War? The first one is Odisha. Here is the Orissa. The first one is Odisha. And next one is Delhi. Odisha, Delhi. And next one is territories north of the Yamuna river. Yamuna river which flows in this area. North of Yamuna. And next one is north of Yamuna river, Agra and Delhi. Agra. Here is the Agra. Which were the places conquered by British in second Anglo-Mysore War? The first one is Odisha and south of Yamuna river, Delhi, Agra. These are the places which were conquered by British in the second Anglo-Maratha War. And finally this war ended with the Treaty of Basin Treaty, but they have not mentioned here the Treaty of Basin Treaty. Finally British had gained the second Anglo-Maratha War. Who gained the second Anglo-Maratha War? The British had gained the second Anglo-Maratha War. Okay, the first also British, second also British, and next started with the third Anglo-Maratha War. Third Anglo-Maratha War which took place between the British and next to Maratha province. Who was the head of Maratha province? Peshwa Bajirao II one side, British another side, which took place in the year of 1817 and 1818. 1872, 1818. Finally this war crushed Maratha power. The Peshwa was removed. Who was the Peshwa? Palaji Bajirao fought against the British. Finally he was defeated by British, Balaji Bajirao II. The British finally ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಇವರು ಅಂದರೆ, finally the Peshwa was removed. Peshwa post was completely abolished. ಪೇಶ್ವಾ ಪೋಸ್ಟನ್ನು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟಾಗಿ ತೆಗೆದಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಾಲಾಜಿ ಬಾಜಿರಾವ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಬಾಲಿಶ್ಡ್, ಬಾಲಾಜಿ ಬಾಜಿರಾವ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವಾಸ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದಿ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ ಅವೇ ಟು ಬೀತೂರ್ ನಿಯೇ ಕಾನ್ಪುರ್ ವಿತ್ ಎ ಪೆನ್ಷನ್. ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಅವನನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ? ಬೀತೂರ್. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ? ಬೀತೂರ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ಲೇಸಿಗೆ ಅವನನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಅಲ್ಲಿದ್ದ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಬೀತೂರ್ ನಿಯರ್ ಕಾನ್ಪುರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ. ಅಂಡ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಪೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದ 60 ಏಜ್, ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಟೇಕ್ ಪೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದೇರ್ ರಿಟೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಅವರ ರಿಟೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಪೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇಯರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ದ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಪೆನ್ಷನ್ ಟು ದ ಪೇಶ್ವಾ ಅಂಡ್ ಈ ವಾಸ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದಿ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್. ಪೆನ್ಷನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಅಬಾಲಿಷ್ ದ ಪೇಶ್ವಾ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಗ್ರಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಎ ಪೆನ್ಷನ್ ಬಾಲಾಜಿ ಬಾಜಿರಾವ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದೇ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರತಾಪ್ ಸಿಂಹ. ಹೂ ವಾಸ್ ಪ್ರತಾಪ್ ಸಿಂಹ? ದ ಡಿಸೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲರ್ ಆಫ್ ಶಿವಾಜಿ. ಮೊದಲಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ ಶಿವಾಜಿ ರೂಲರು, ಅವನ ಮೊಮ್ಮಗ ಸತಾರ. ಅಂಡ್ ನೇಮ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನಲ್ ಲೀಡರ್. And next the British suppressed the Maratha resistance like this. Okay, and Bithur, the company now had complete over the territories south of the Vindhyas. Here is the Vindhya mountain. British controlled over the British completely controlled over the south of Vindhyas. Here Mysuru province also were gained by British. And next one is Karnataka were also gained by British. Maratha province also were gained by British. Like this, British completely control over the territories of South India, South Vindhyas. British completely control over the territories of South Vindhyas. Next, let us continue with the claim of paramountcy. Okay, next, it is clear from, okay, here we have completed 4 Anglo-Mysore wars. Next, 3 Anglo-Maratha wars. Next, the claim of paramountcy. Claim of paramountcy. What is? First, we need to understand what is paramountcy. It is clear from the above that from early 19th century, the company pursued an aggressive policy of territorial expansion under Lord Hastings, Governor General from 1813 to 1823. A new policy of paramountcy was initiated. It is clear from the above that from early 19th century. In the early 19th century, the company pursued, which means the company followed an aggressive policy of territorial expansion. Territorial expansion, which means ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡನ್ನೇ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು? ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. The British pursued an aggressive policy of territorial expansion. It was controlled by under Lord Hastings. Who was Lord Hastings. He was the Governor General of British in India 1813 to 1823. He was the Governor General of British in India. He ruled from 1813 to 1823. He introduced the paramountcy. Who introduced paramountcy power? It was introduced by Lord Hastings. Who introduced paramountcy? Paramountcy was introduced by Lord Hastings. Who was Lord Hastings? He was the Governor General of British in India. He ruled from 1813 to 1823. A new policy of paramountcy was initiated by Lord Hastings. Lord Hastings, whatever it was initiated. Now the company claimed that his authority was paramount or supreme, A company authority is supreme according to Paramount C. According to Paramount C. Paramount C. According to Paramount C, a company authority, East India Company Authority Supreme. East India Company Authority Supreme. Okay. According to who implemented Paramount C power? It was implemented by Lord Hastings in the era of 1813. He ruled from 1813 to 1823. No, the company claimed that his authority was paramount or supreme. In order to protect its interest, it was justified. Hence, it was greater than that of Indian states, according to Paramount C, was initiated by Lord Hastings. No, the company claimed that its authority is supreme. Its authority is supreme, was paramount or supreme, which means its power was greater than Indian states. Which means here you can understand. Here you can understand like this: East India Company Company Authority superior than local authority, okay. What is Paramount C? What was Paramount C? The Paramount C East India Company power was greater than of Indian states. That is called Paramount C. What was Paramount C? Paramount C was implemented by Lord Hastings. Its authority was paramount or supreme. It was the authority paramount or supreme. No authority superior than Paramount C, superior than East India Company. ಅಂದರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ ಅಥಾರಿಟಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ all the authorities of India, whatever it, either Mysore kingdom, Maratha kingdom, Carnatic kingdom, Odisha kingdom, whoever it, all they were under controlled by East India Company, according to Paramount C. It was East India Company power was greater than that the Indian state. This is East India Company. East India Company power was greater than that of Indian states. That is Paramount C. In order to protest its interest, it was justified. In order to ಅವರುಗಳನ್ನು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್, ಅವರ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟಿಫೈ ಅಂದರು. ಏನು ಜಸ್ಟಿಫೈಡು? ಇನ್ ಅನ್ನೆಕ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಥ್ರೆಟನಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಅನ್ನೆಕ್ಸ್ ಎನಿ ಕಿಂಗ್ಡಮ್. ಇಫ್ ವಿ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ against Maratha kingdom, if we attack against Mysore kingdom, it was justified. According to them, it was justified. Why? It was justified. What was justified? Annexing. What was justified according to British? Annexing or threatening. Annexing which means attacking. Attack ಮಾಡೋದು or threatening, ಬೆದರಿಕೆ ಒಡ್ಡೋದು. To annex any Indian kingdom, whatever it, any Indian kingdom. This view continued to guide later the British policies as well. Any Indian kingdom annexing or threatening, it was justified for any Indian kingdom. ಯಾವುದೇ any Indian kingdom ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇದು justify ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಅವರಾಟಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು. This view continue, which view? Paramount view, and next to annexing and next to threatening, continued to guide later the British policies as well. ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಈ ಗೈಡ್ಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಹವೆವರ್ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋ ಅನ್ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್ಡ್. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ವೆನ್ ದ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಅನ್ನೆಕ್ಸ್ ಎ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಿತ್ತೂರು, ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್. ಇದು ಒಂದು ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅನ್ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್ಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್. ವಾಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್? ಅನ್ನೆಕ್ಸಿಂಗ್, ಥ್ರೆಟನಿಂಗ್. ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್, ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್. It was challenged. Which was challenged? The annexing and the threatening. These are two things, or any other manipulative ideas were used by British It was challenged, did not go unchallenged. For example, when the British tried to annex a small state of Kitturu, Kitturu was ruled by the famous queen Kitturu Rani Channamma in the year of 1824. A Kitturu Rani Channamma, Kitturu was ruled by small state. Kitturu was ruled by Malla Sarja. Malla Sarja had two wives. The first one is Rudramma and second one is Channamma. Rudramma. Malla Sarja had two wives. The first one is Rudramma, second one is Mallamma. Okay, sorry, Channamma. Rudramma and Channamma. Rudramma is son Shivalinga Rudra Sarja. I think, did you see Sangolli Rayana film? Shivalinga Rudra Sarja. Channamma, she had not any son. She had not children. Okay, she did not get any children. And next, Shivalinga Rudra Sarja. After the death of Malla Sarja, Shivalinga Rudra Sarja who came to power. Channamma, she was the representative of Shivalinga Rudra Sarja, but Shivalinga Rudra Sarja, he died due to the illness. After he adopted a son name, ಒಬ್ಬ ಮಗನನ್ನು ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾಳೆ. his name Shivalingappa. Shivalingappa, he ruled over. He was adopted son. He was not, ಅಂದರೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಅವರ ಸ್ವಂತ ಮಗ. he was not ಅಂದರೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಅವರ ಸ್ವಂತ ಮಗ ಅಲ್ಲ ಶಿವಲಿಂಗಪ್ಪ. he was an adopted son. Rani Channamma in Karnataka today. Rani Channamma took to arms and led an anti-British resistance movement. She was arrested in 1824 and died in prison 1829. Why did the British attack against the Kitturu? Kitturu ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು? According to doctrine of lapse, what is meaning of doctrine of lapse? Let us continue in the next para, that is doctrine of lapse. If any Indian ruler dies without children, their adopted son had not legally over the throne, which means ಅಂದರೆ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನಕ್ಕೆ ಏರುವ ಅಧಿಕಾರವಿರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ, a British tried to annex this kingdom. Which kingdom? Kitturu kingdom, because Shivalingappa, he was the adopted boy. According to doctrine of lapse, British were trying to attack Kitturu province under the doctrine of lapse policy. But the Channamma, she opposed this policy. Why did we give our land to you? She hanged against the British. That's why in the 1824 there was a war which took place between the British and the Kitturu Rani Channamma in the first war, 1824. Finally, Channamma won this war. In the second, after the month, second war also started. Second Kitturu war between Channamma and the British. This Channamma was arrested. She was defeated by the British in 1824 and died in the prison in 1829. After 5 years, first she was prisoned in the Bailavangala and next she transferred from Bailavangala to Kuskal jail. But Rayana, who was Rayana? Rayana was a loyal follower of Rani Channamma. Who was Sangolli Rayana? Sangolli Rayana was a famous freedom fighter in the history of Karnataka. He was a loyal follower of Kitturu Rani Channamma Sangolli Rayana. He was popularly known as his name was Rayana, but he was popularly known as Sangolli Rayana. He was a loyal follower, great freedom fighter in the history of Karnataka. Okay, and next Sangolli Rayana, he poor. One more question. When was Channamma arrested? 1824. When was Channamma died? 1829. When did Channamma die? 1829. But Rayana, he continued this war. Who was Rayana? A loyal follower of Rani Channamma or fourth Chowkidar of Sangolli in Kitturu. Chowkidar means he collected the revenue He collected the revenue in the villages of Sangolli from the representative of Kitturu province. Kitturu province. Who was Sangolli Rayana? One marks question. Apur Chaukidar of Kittu, Sangolli in Kitturu. Sangolli is a village. It was led by Sangolli Rayana. He was popularly known as Sangolli Rayana because he born in Sangolli village in Kitturu, carried on the resistance. The finally after the death of Kitturu Rani Channamma, this movement which was carried by Sangolli Rayana, and next with popular support he destroyed many British camps and records. In the night time, Sangolli Rayana, he developed the nationalism feeling among the Indians, and he collected many Indians, he collected many Kannadigas in the sensitive places ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಾನೆ, ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್ನ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಾನೆ. He aimed to looting treasury of British, and next with popular support he destroyed many British camp and records. Their records and camps, British camps, offices and records were destroyed by Sangolli Rayana in the year of 1830. He was caught. Who was caught? Sangolli Rayana. After all destroyed, the British, it was headache. The British was headache because Sangolli Rayana is one of the dangerous person of British. He destroyed the British camps, he looted the British treasury, and next to he looted the taluk offices of the British, and next to he destroyed the records. He was caught on an 1830 British, he was caught and hanged by the British in 1830. Sangolli Rayana, he was hanged in 1830. You will read more about several cases of resistance later in the book. ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಇನ್ನು ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ನೀವು ಇಂಥವನ್ನ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತೀರಾ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟು, in the late 18th century, 1830, the East India Company became worried about Russia. Here, this is Russia. The East India Company became worried about Russia. It imagined that Russia might expand across Asia and enter India from the northwest. Russia imagined, the East India Company imagined, ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಇಮೇಜ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ಇಮೇಜ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಏನಂತ ಇಮೇಜ್ ಆಯಿತು? ದಟ್ ರಷ್ಯಾ ಮೈಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡೆಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಎಂಪೈರ್, ಅಂದರೆ ಟೆರಿಟರಿಯನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಏಷ್ಯಾ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಏಷ್ಯಾ, this is Russia land, this is Asia. Here this is completely Asia, this is called Eurasia. Russia plus Asia, it is called as Eurasia. Okay, Russia might expand across Asia and enter India from the, this is called northwest region, from the northwest region, driven by this fear. The British, what was the fear driven by the British? What was the fear? One marks question. What was the fear driven by the British? Russia might expand across Asia and enter India from the northwest direction. This was fear driven by the British. The British now wanted to secure their control over the northwest. They wanted to control over the northwest. Here, just I will ask the one question: who ruled over the northwest region? Punjab, Rajasthan, these places. Who ruled over these places? Next, let us go with Anglo-Sikh Wars. Okay, northwest region was ruled by Sikh dynasty. The famous Sikh person Ranjit Singh, he ruled over the northwest region. Okay, and next, enter India from the northwest, driven by the fear. The British now wanted to secure their control over the northwest They fought a prolonged war with Afghanistan between 1838 to 1848 and established indirect company rule there. Here, Afghanistan, the British fought prolonged war with Afghanistan between 1838 to and 1848 and established indirect, not directly, indirectly company rule there. Here, indirectly company rule. Next in the line was Punjab. Next to here Afghanistan. Here this is Afghanistan. Okay, Afghanistan, British. Here in inside of India there was a British rule. The British attacked Afghanistan 1838 and 1848. The British captured the Afghanistan region. And next one is a prolonged war. Sindh was taken over in 1843. Sindh. Here this province it was called as Sindh province. It was taken from 1843. When was Sindh taken by the British? 1843. Next in line was Punjab. Here is there is a Punjab. It was ruled by the Sikh famous king, but the present of Maharaja Ranjit Singh held back the company. After his death in 1839, two prolonged war fought between Sikh kingdom. Ultimately in 1849, Punjab was annexed by British. Okay, here. Who ruled over the Punjab? The Punjab is one of the land of 5 rivers because there are 5 rivers which flow in this area. Ravi, China, Bias, Sutlej, Indus. There are 5 rivers which flow in this area. That's why it was called as land of 5 rivers. It was ruled by the famous Sikh king, Ranjit Singh. Who ruled over the Sikh region? Ranjit Singh. Okay. And next Maharaja Ranjit Singh held back the company after his death 1839. There were 2 wars fought between the British and the Sikh. The first one is first Anglo-Sikh war. Second one is first Anglo-Sikh war in the year of 1839. Second one is second Anglo-Sikh war. Okay, na? Ultimately, who won this war? The Sikh kingdom. Ultimately in 1849, Punjab was annexed by British. Here we can understand the British completely annexed all over the India. When was Punjab attacked? 1849. Annexed 1849. Punjab became the de facto ruler of Punjab. British resident became the de facto ruler of Punjab. Punjab became the dependent state of East India Company. Here, from to here, what we have learned, just you can imagine, just you can recognize, just you have to imagine how did British extend their empire all over the India by waging war against the company. The first one is Battle of Plassey Buxar. The British gained this province. And next one is British Carnatic. They did not mention in this book. Carnatic region. It was the British were gained through. British gained through Carnatic wars. Next, the British gained Anglo-Mysuru province. The British gained Mysuru province through Anglo-Mysore wars. British gained Maratha province through Anglo-Maratha wars. British gained Sikh province through Anglo-Sikh wars, Anglo-Maratha wars, Anglo-Mysore wars, Carnatic wars, Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar. Next, Afghanistan was Anglo-Afghan war, and next Sindh was controlled by British. Like this, British annexed all over India. British annexed all over India. Here the complete wars were completed from now onwards. We will discuss about the what were the strategies which used by British in order to annex, in order to extend their empire all over the India. Already we have discussed 4 Anglo-Mysore wars, 3 Anglo-Maratha wars, 2 Anglo-Sikh wars, 3 Carnatic wars, 2 battles. The first battle, Battle of Plass; second battle, Battle of Buxar. Like this, British controlled all over the territory of India. The British ruled from 1600 to 1947. Okay, next let us discuss about the doctrine of lapse. Let us discuss about the doctrine of lapse. Of the finally of annexations occurred under Lord Wellesley, was the Governor General from 1848 to 1856. Nodri. Next, after the Warren Hastings, who came to power as a Governor General of British Empire in India? Lord Wellesley. Sorry, Lord Dalhousie. Lord Dalhousie. Lord Dalhousie, 1838 and 1848 to 1856. 1848 to 1856. 1856. Lord Dalhousie. Who was Lord Dalhousie? Who was Lord Dalhousie? The final wave of annexations. The British planned, no onwards, we should not make a wars. We should not wage a wars. Now in ಮುಂದೆ wage a war. ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಯುದ್ಧಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ they have decide ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು? The final wave of annexations ಅಂದರೆ means wave of annexations ಅಂದರೆ means ಆಕ್ರಮಣದ ಅಲೆ occurred under Lord Dalhousie. Was the Governor General from 1848 to 1856? Who was the Governor General of 1848 to 1856? The Lord Dalhousie. Lord Dalhousie, he devised a policy that came to be known as Doctrine of Lapse. Next, who brought to implement Doctrine of Lapse? Lord Dalhousie. Doctrine of Lapse. Doctrine of Lapse. Doctrine of Lapse. Who brought to implement, one marks question, who brought to implement self-reliance? When? Lord Wellesley in 1798. Who brought to implement paramountcy power? Lord Hastings. Who brought to implement Doctrine of Lapse? It was implemented by Lord Wellesley in 1848. In 1848, according to this policy, in this policy, the British were trying to annex the another Indian kingdom. This is one of the manipulative ideas, such as the manipulative idea which was used by the Doctrine of Lapse. Every Governor General, they had aimed to extend their empire all over the India. When they were coming to India, they had aimed to extend their empire over the India. That's why all the Governor General, they were using different ideas, different manipulation ideas. The first person, Lord Wellesley, Lord Robert Clive, he used cunningness. And next, Lord Wellesley, he used subsidiary alliance. Lord Warren Hastings, he used paramountcy power. And next one is Lord Dalhousie used the Doctrine of Lapse policy. What is Doctrine of Lapse policy? Let us understand what is Doctrine of Lapse policy. According to this policy, the doctrine declared that if any Indian ruler, one marks question, what is meant by Doctrine of Lapse policy? Doctrine of lapse. What is Doctrine of Lapse policy? One marks question. If any Indian ruler died without a male heir, his kingdom would lapse. That is become part of company territory. That is called Doctrine of Lapse. Simple. If any Indian ruler died without male children, without male children, adopted son had no legal over the throne. ಅಂದರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ರಾಜ ಸತ್ರೆ ಅವನ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಗನಿಗೆ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನದ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರಿಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಹಂಗಾದ್ರೆ? ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ದೇರ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಹೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಿಂಗ್ಡಮ್ ವುಡ್ ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಸ್. ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಪವರ್, ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಯಾರಿಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್, ನಾಟ್ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟೆಡ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್. What is doctrine of lapse policy? Listen here correctly. A doctrine of lapse policy, which means if any Indian ruler died without male heir, that kingdom would lapse, that is became part of company territory. That is called doctrine of lapse. One kingdom after annexed, another was annexed simply by one by one. The Indian territories annexed according to doctrine of lapse to the East India Company. Which were the territories? Simply by applying this doctrine, the first one is the first state. Which state? Satara of Maharashtra. Satara, 1848. Which was the first state under control by doctrine of lapse? Satara state. Next to Sambalpur, 1850. Udaipur, Sambalpur, here is a Sambalpur. Next Udaipur of Rajasthan, and Nagpur of Maharashtra, Jhansi of Uttar Pradesh. Jhansi Rani Lakshmibai, did you hear? Jhansi Rani Lakshmibai, she was the great freedom fighter in order to protest against the British by opposing of doctrine of lapse policy. Which were the states controlled by doctrine of lapse? Satara, Udaipura, Jhansi, Nagpura, Sambalpura, Bhagatpura, so many states became the part of British Empire in India by using of doctrine of lapse policy. Like this, British extended their empire all over the India with using of wars and manipulation ideas. And next, finally, 1856, the company also took over Oudh also, which was under by doctrine of lapse. This time the British had an added argument. They said they were obliged by duty. The British had added argument ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. They said they were obliged by duty to take over Oudh in order to free the people from the misgovernment. Actually, Oudh was ruled by Wajid Ali Khan in 1856. In 1856, the British annexed the Oudh province. They told one reason ಕೊಟ್ರು. The British had an added argument. They said they were obliged by duty. Now attack ಮಾಡಿದ, annex ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, this is my duty to take over the Oudh in order to free the people. We have to free the people. The British, they thought that they were thinking this is the duty. What is the duty? To take over Oudh in order to free the people from the misgovernment of the Nawab, the enraged by the humiliating way in which the Nawab was deposed. ಇದನ್ನು ಸಿಟ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಮಾನವೀಯ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಯಾರಿಗೆ? ನವಾಬ್ಗೆ. Nawab was deposed. The people of Oudh joined the great revolt that broke out in 1857. The first war of Indian independence, it took place 1857. The Oudh people joined in this war. Okay. The first what we have discussed in this class, I hope you have understood. The first one is Anglo-Maratha War, and next one is Kittur Rani Channamma and his followers Sangolli Rayana. Next we have discussed how did Russia attack, and next why did British think, why had been driven fear by the British, and next doctrine of lapse policy. Who implemented doctrine of lapse policy? Which states were controlled by according to doctrine of lapse by the Lord Dalhousie. Okay, and next we have discussed the Oudh province. Okay, I hope you have understood. Thank you.